prepare to put on your tinfoil hats.
Okay, so today is going to be a little bit different than normal. We actually don't have anyone to interview. We are going to instead be going over a UFO video that I haven't seen before, but it's been very, like, just nobody talks about it. And I honestly didn't hear or see anything about it until recently. I just happened to see somebody post something about it. We're going to present you with everything as is at face value. We can't at this time confirm or debunk this video. At first, the first time I saw it, I was like, "There's no way this is real." But then the more I looked at it, we're going to be doing in-depth analysis of it in terms of looking at the frame rates and stuff like that. The more questions it arises, it's really weird. I made Dane watch it. He was even like, "I'm not really sure what to make of this," so we're just gonna take it at face value, present you with everything that we can find out about it, and kind of let you make your own decisions about it. So it's called The Indestructible Truth. It's claimed to have been filmed and dated somewhere around 1959, maybe later, by a guy named Martin Sexton. And we are actually in contact with the person who claims to have filmed this back then, but at the same time, if it was really filmed all the way back there, that means this guy would probably be in his 80s or 90s now. And I don't know, man. It's just a lot of things are like weird in terms of the background surrounding the background behind this video. But Dane, do you really have anything to add on this whole topic?
Um, I mean, beyond the emails that we've exchanged with Martin so far, he's definitely an interesting character. Like, this
Oh
guy
yeah,
seems like
he's
he's a
into
pretty
this kind
cool
of
guy.
stuff. Yeah, he's into this kind of stuff for sure. But
To just summarize one of his emails that he sent us, um, he responded really quick. We just basically asked him about the Tibetan UFO, if he was the one that filmed it. He kind of jumped around the question, but the way he summarized the video is the indestructible truth goes into the heart of what is reality and what is illusion. And in that sense, it is very authentic to the origin of the Buddhist teaching of Shambhala. I am not, however, a Buddhist. That is basically all he said about the video.
yeah, the video is, man, if it's faked, it's professionally faked. Let me tell you that. Um, by all means, it's pretty clear, man. Like, considering the circumstances, this video only popped up around 2013 is when it first is the earliest published version of it I can find was someone uploaded it in 2013, and it appears to be have published by Martin himself on YouTube. And I've seen a couple of his. He is an artist from London, it sounds like, and I found a bunch of his artwork pieces, and it's film. He does film art pieces, but they're more transformative, like weird film pieces. Like they're really unique. He's been featured in a few art festival slash museum kind of settings. At first, honestly, I thought he was fake. I thought that this was a faked video that somebody just edited with CGI and threw out there and made up the name Martin Sexton. But it turns out Martin Sexton is a real guy. I really had to dig deep to figure this guy out, like find out whether or not he was real. And it turns out he is real. But the more I find out about him, the more questions it raises about the video's authenticity. Because again, if it was filmed by him and it is dated correctly, that guy should be in his 80s. And I don't think he's in his 80s because I did find his LinkedIn profile, and he definitely don't look like he's 80. So I don't know. There's just a lot of questions around this film, but again, it looks good, and we're gonna go actually look at it right now.
Real quick,
Go
I
ahead.
would like to suggest that anyone that listens to this should just go watch it for themselves and
Absolutely.
form their own thoughts and feelings and opinions on it. Um, you got to read everything that the video states. Just, the title is called "Indestructible Truth: Tibet UFO Martin Sexton, 1958."
Correct. So
Um,
I can tell you that the dating on that is improper because, well, I guess I shouldn't say improper, but it's possible that it was filmed in 58, but it wasn't edited and for sure released until after 59 because in the title scrolls, the text scrolls in the film, it references a book by a psychologist that wasn't released until 59. So I can tell you that it was at least edited and finalized after 59.
so basically, the way it starts is like an old 1950s, 1940s film where it's a wall of text and then it shows some footage.
And
And
a
the
lot
wall
of
of
the
text goes
footage, yeah, let me go ahead on the text. Yeah, talk about the text
it,
first.
the wall of text goes on for about 3 minutes, and he basically starts with a quote, and the quote goes, "The old Lama of Mayana tells me to free myself of the two extremes." And then he goes into he needs to walk path of enlightenment, basically. Um, and then it goes into that a little bit, and then he goes into a part where he's talking about I may have lost a week, a month in time, a time in between time, can no longer remember. It's one in which I suspect something special happened. Maybe just passing instant, but an opening in time that was driven through with force. So basically, he's saying that time was non existent during when this happened.
Right.
So he doesn't know if he was out for a moment or if he was out for a week or a month.
Yeah. Also, an important thing to clarify is under the original video upload, it says Martin Sexton's works are presented as collectible artworks of the future, time machines that are somehow and mysteriously filmed in the past, viewed in the present, yet reveal objects and portions from the future. Which is pretty much exactly what this video is. It's weird. It's a weird video, and like the very beginning text almost seems like a first-hand account from him
Mm-hmm.
because it's like referencing getting on this craft, um, and then becoming violently ill afterwards for a while. And he even references things about Chinese or China,
Taking over Tibet.
yep, and all that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting. And then a lot of like for the first, I think up until like the UFO sighting or like the UFO being filmed doesn't actually start until about like 11 minutes 30 seconds. Um, and up until that point, mostly it's just like B-roll films of like the culture and the people, just going about their daily lives and like a lot of it's just and then there's like some B-roll shots of like mountain ranges and stuff. And then about 5 minutes in, it gets to the quotes from that um, psychologist that we referenced earlier, and it's actually in reference to a book that he published in '59 called "Flying Saucers: A Modern Myth of Things Seen in the Skies." And that book actually goes into like his take on the UFO phenomena and how he thinks that it's people's minds playing tricks on them, how it originates, things along those lines. And so there's a quote from that book in this film. The form it has taken, however, is comparable to nothing in the past, but is a typical child of the age of technology. This is the worldwide distribution of the UFO phenomena. C.G. Jung, 1959. So it's really weird, man. Like that's really all I could say about this video, man. It's weird. When we kind of look at this video, when we get to the third and final text mark at the end of the video, not quite at the end of the video, but before it shows the craft, it says, "The monks tell me this is Yana. It is their diorama chariot." And then it cuts to what looks like he's filming more like cultural B-roll. He's looking at this, what appears to be a temple. Don't quote me on that, but a building of some kind. And he's just kind of filming it. And then all of a sudden,
Real quick,
yeah,
to give it a description of the area for those that are just listening, it is somewhere in the Tibetan mountains. It's
yes,
very rocky. There's snow everywhere, and in like this flat part, it's a temple. So very rigid from the base, about halfway up, and then it's a perfect white dome with a tower on top.
Right.
like a goldish tower on top.
Correct. And then all of a sudden, like he's filming that, and then it cuts to him fidgeting with the lens. Like you can see his fingers all over the lens. It looks like he's almost adjusting it. And he then kind of is like real scrambling with it. It's real shaky, and you get a glimpse of it, and he keeps trying to pan up while he's adjusting the lens, and then you get to fully see the craft, and it's impressive, man. Like you get some good shots of it, and you can see it's got like rotating parts on it, and it's very clear, and you can actually see people like kneeling down and like observing this thing, um, and just all these people are watching this thing, and
So when you look at it, like, let me just go to a still of it and pause real quick. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. All right. So when you look at it, what kind of caught my attention is it really resembles the white dome that is part of the temple, or so we think is a temple that's right next to it. Except for it's floating in the air, the bottom is circulating, and I don't really know what to call it, so I'm just gonna call it like smog coming out of the bottom, as if that's where the engines or the propulsion system would be.
it's weird, man. Like the more I
Yeah.
look at it, the weirder it gets.
And you can also see, like, if you were to slow down the video, that that it's rotating,
Hmm.
both the bottom section and the top section. Earlier, Stackhouse sent me the video. He said, just watch this all the way through. And when we got here, I don't know what to think of it. I honestly don't. Like, I don't want to say that this is no doubt about conspiracy UFO, but
I mean, you
at
can
the
even
same
see
time,
heat distortion,
yeah,
like where there's the it's that phenomena where the ground becomes so hot and the rising heat waves distort your view. It's like when you're in the desert and you see that kind of weird warpy look to the air. That's heat distortion. You can actually see that in the video coming off the I guess what you would call the propulsion system of the craft. Like this is like clear video, man. For those listening, like please just go watch this video. Like it's really good. Like if like again, like we're gonna go into the analysis of the making sure that it's accurate to the time period, and we're gonna be looking at the frame rate and the individual frames and looking for errors. But man, like it's pretty good, man. It's clear. If it looks real. Like at first take, it definitely looks real. If you ignore all the weird stuff surrounding like its origins and stuff, like it looks good, man. If it was done, I'd have to say it was professionally done.
yeah. I just don't know. I
Well,
just don't know.
I'd say we kind of just dip into the whole analysis at this point because I think that's the most important part that we're going to get to here. Taking a look at this video and verifying whether or not it's real or not, or if it can even point us in the right direction. If it can, because if it's fake, there's going to be indicators that it's fake. In terms of, because keep in mind, there's a lot of things we have to look into here. And like for example, frame rate, because older cameras back in the 50s and 60s did not film in 30 frames per second. Um, there's going to be a lot of things like that. We're going to be looking at aspect ratio, things along those lines. Um, so let's just kind of jump into that here real quick. Okay, so the first thing that I really wanted to look at, Dane,
Hmm.
was frame rate because film cameras obviously today run at either 30 or 60 FPS. Um, that's just modern cameras. However, when you're talking about film cameras from back in the 60s, you're not talking 30 FPS. So basically, what you'd be looking at from that time period is on average, it was when they first were popular. So back in the 50s, you could buy a film video camera like at a store.
Hmm.
They generally run you about $70, which is converted to today's money, that's about $500, which is a lot. Um, but you could buy them, and they ran at about 24 frames per second. And that was just because, economically speaking, that was what was realistic for the time, because anything higher than that would have been so expensive, the average American wouldn't be buying it, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, skip forward to the late 50s is when they began to introduce slightly higher frame rate, and you could get up to 26 frames per second. I've put this video into Vegas Pro, and Vegas Pro is clocking it at 25 frames per second. So if it's faked, they already got that part taken care of. Because that is, if it was faked, if this video was running at 30 FPS, I'd be able to immediately say this was not filmed in 1950 or 1960 because those cameras didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that I can't debunk it that way. It's running at being clocked at 25 frames per second. So appears to be legit on that aspect of it. And it is the correct aspect ratio, 4:3. And it does appear that it's been digitized, or converted, I should say, for being more proper. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. There's devices that they make nowadays that will actually scan it in, so you actually physically put the roll of film through a device, and it will basically take a photo of every single frame and send it through the computer, and then turn it into a digital version of it. There's lots of ways that you can do that with film. So if this was originally filmed on a film camera, this is probably how they did it. But again, it's running at 25 frames per second, so that does date it correctly. Now, if we go to the part with the craft, I do want to take a look at one of the things that I really wanted to look at was the shakiness of the camera, because if this was CGI, like somebody just plopped in, they created a CG version of a spacecraft, they used motion tracking to splice it in there, and then motion tracking obviously kept it in the correct place. Now, to get that 50s look, they would then apply a filter over top of it to get it to give that 50s kind of look, and they'd also have to decrease the frame rate.
And on top of that, they would also have to add in the randomized, what is it called when there's like the black splotches on the video?
Right, that'd be part of another filter on top of it, on top of the color correction. So, looking at it, one of the things that really caught my attention was there's a part when he's first starting to film it, he's very volatile with the camera movements. So actually, right about here,
Almost as if it was excitement.
right, you can see that the item is blurred the same as the actual temple that's in the frame. So if this is CGI, it's professionally done because this isn't amateur work. So as he moves, it has the same blur streaks on the craft as he basically loses focus. That's really interesting. So that's clean, I can say that much. Taking it frame by frame, it does not appear to shift away from the clouds in the background at all. It seems to be consistent in its placement in the sky. Everything that I'm looking at, man, tells me that it's whatever this is was really in frame when it was filmed. Could it have been faked still, though? Yes, but it would have had to have been done professionally because this is an amateur hour work here that I'm looking at. Yes, it could have been CGI plus color correction plus film effects, plus doing all the frame rate adjustments and stuff. Yes, it is possible. Something that we have to get into, Dane. Are you ready for this? So there's another video.
Yeah.
There's another video I haven't shown you.
Oh.
We're gonna watch it.
More surprises.
Yes. So the link that I sent you in our Discord's extraterrestrial updates, it's the Martin Sexton, his website. If you go to his website, it's this creepy Flash embedded website page.
Like this thing hasn't been updated since 2002.
Right. Did you pull it up yet? Pull up the website. All right. So, do you see the strange floating head?
Yeah, the thing that looks like Thanos, but because it's moving, but it looks like a philosopher actually.
Right. Let your mouse hit it.
And it disappeared.
Right. Now it takes you to this weird page. There's some kind of quote from a book up top on the left. And then you get this creepy dude's face.
It's a statue, but
Yeah,
like
it's
with
a
human
statue,
eyes.
which is weird. And then it like weirdly shows him cropped onto a brick wall, and then it fades to the moon,
Yep.
and then it kind of just resets. So, do you see Truth Machines?
Okay, yeah, so truth machines. I
Click
found
Truth
it.
Machines. This is the second video. Truth Machines, they have the original Tibet video from 58. You can select which
Mm-hmm.
one on the right, and then they have the Mexico one. The Mexico one has a very similar craft to it that we're going to look at. So, are you ready, Dane? This is one
It's
of the
already playing,
things.
dude.
Yeah, you're good. This raises more questions than it does reassure me.
Answer.
Yeah, it makes things weirder. But it does lead me to believe that basically this is edited because there's aspects of the Mexico one that also has the appearance that it's filmed maybe back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And there's aspects of it that indicate to me that it's been tampered with, if for lack of a better term. But there's this very similar craft that looks almost as good, but it does a bunch of weird psychedelic hippie stuff. Like, you'll see what I'm talking about. So just let me know when you
So
get to that part.
I'm skipping through it slowly just to get to the juicy stuff. So he's in like a Amazon rainforest. There's a old temple.
Correct. And right around, I think the timestamp at the end is. There's a bunch of weird imagery with it. Okay, so it starts at 9 minutes.
9 minutes. Yeah, I see a bunch of like weird, trippy, psychedelic stuff.
Right, and then you'll see a weird UFO craft right around 9 minutes.
So like the weird psychedelic stuff fades out, and
Right,
then it comes back in.
right. You're gonna see. So now you see the temple in the background and stuff.
Give me a sec. Now it fades out again.
Yep. So you're a few seconds ahead of me, but some more psychedelic stuff. Now it's gonna transform into a craft.
Ah, it transformed into a craft. Now that looks like it was actually pasted there, and it's CGI.
Right. Similar craft, but does not look anywhere like it looks similar, but it's not. It
It
clearly
looks
looks
like it's
fake.
CGI.
It looks
Yeah.
fake. It doesn't look good like the last one did. Like this one looks pretty CGI. And it because there's also this fake video that's clearly fake.
Mm.
Just because I shouldn't say it's clearly fake. Well, I mean, actually, I have to. I have to say it's clearly fake because it's doing a bunch of weird psychedelic visual effects associated with the craft. So that tells me that it's associated with the effects that were added afterwards.
Yeah.
So
So that one's clearly fake. Like
yeah, that one's
I have
pretty
no doubt
obvious.
about it in my mind.
So that one's fake. But and it's got a bunch of weird imagery with it too, like the weird hand movements and stuff, and just like all this weird like camera work that he's doing with it. And it's like, yeah, there's the freaky hand. I just scrolled back to it. Like, it's
What it looks
super
like to me is
weird.
someone took a little bit too much acid in their time, and they just kind of
It looks like a trip. It looks like a trip video.
yeah.
Also, yeah, and there's a bunch of images of like Jesus and stuff. Like, it's a weird piece of work. But what concerns me is that it's connected to the Tibet video. So it raises questions about the Tibet video. I don't know. The Tibet video is it's really weird because the Tibet video looks real. And it
And that one doesn't.
right, and it looks professionally done.
So
So what raises makes it even weirder is like if you were
yeah.
to the point where like you've altered the frame rates and stuff and done all the color correction and done all of these little details. So I don't know what to think of it, man. I really don't. Like the weird psychedelic craft thing, I'm gonna call fake on it. Um, just because it's fake. I gotta say that one's fake, but the Tibet one still raises a lot of questions for me. I'm not convinced one way or the
Seeing
other.
that fake one, it kind of starts to shift
Shift your
my
opinion on it.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's where you're like, I don't know what to think to I'm leaning a little more towards fake on it just because it's associated with a very clearly fake video.
Yeah.
But then again, man, it just looks so good. Also, he just replied to us via email again. So if you want to, why don't we just pull that up now and see what it says?
All right.
So
Oh,
let's.
this one's kind of long
Oh, is it a long one?
and includes a JPEG.
Oh yeah,
Should
that's
I
his
read it?
book. Yeah, read it, man. Just start from the
All
beginning.
right. So the original message was addressed to Stackhouse, and then I responded, saying this is shared between both Stackhouse and I. So he says, "Dear Dane, yes, I love the Patterson film. I have struggled with it for many years, and I pride myself in knowing how things can be done. I have worked with magic and illusion all my life. I found myself watching it over and over again, and conflicted. Each viewing had a conflicting opinion. The only happy conclusion I can come up with is that it is real and that it is beautiful, or that Roger Patterson is a secret genius and one of the greatest artists of the 20th century and made a fabulous hoax, even elaborately fooling his partner that day, Bob Giblin." Um,
And that is also just as beautiful.
yeah, I can't quite to this day decide which, so I'm happy that it's just beautiful, whatever. So he can't officially decide whether the Patterson film is real or not, but he likes to settle with it's real.
Right.
He has seen the stabilized 4K and he likes it.
Hmm.
He wrote the book Yeti Society out of his creative obsession with that film specifically. So the indestructible truth is an artwork, but I have filmed and photographed real UFOs. So I think with that we can say that
I think it's safe to say this one is CGI.
CGI.
Professionally done. I'm very
Yeah,
impressed. I'm very impressed
it looked
with
really good.
it. Looked really good. So I gotta say I was onto it, but he did a good job. He did a really good job.
So he goes on to say, I forensically examine everything, treading belief, but I am open at the same time to a possibility of a non controversial explanation. If the evidence points in that direction, I, I am not a closed minded naysayer.
It's a cloud, Dane.
It's a cloud.
It's a cloud.
Um, please feel free to screen it. And you can I can send you a Dropbox file. Here's some basic background on the truth. So, basic background is the film is one in a series of UFO fatigue films. Works presented as fatigue or time machines, works that are somehow and mysteriously filmed in the past yet viewed in the present. Then, in that present, reveal objects or portraits of the future from the future. I can't read. So, The Indestructible Truth claims to be shot in Tibet in 1958 and reveals Shambhala, the legendary Tibetan heaven on earth, or Shangri-La, for the first time. Has quotes from the Swiss psychoanalyst C.G. Jung, who may or may not have shot some of the original film, and closes with a spectacular diamond vehicle or a UFO at its climax.
Confirmed that it's CGI.
Yeah, he did a really good job. So
it's not
kudos.
it's an art piece. Yeah, it is an art piece. It's extraordinary. I'm extraordinarily impressed with it. Um, I he had me going there because he matched the frame rate, he matched the color correction, he had the film, you know, filters over it. I mean, he had the motion blur with it. He had the lighting right. It's good. It's really good. So
So
he said he wants to
he,
chat.
yeah,
I say we get him on here and kind of chat with him because I'd love to hear how
um,
he produced everything.
yeah, I agree.
So because
I
there's a
can
lot
ask him
of
if he would like to come on and actually have a
yeah,
conversation about his works.
yeah, let's do that because like that's extraordinary work. So
Now, there's something that you need to point out. The Indestructible Truth is an artwork, but I have filmed and photographed real UFOs.
I want to talk to him on that.
Yes. So
So
we'll get back to him on that. He is not based in the U.S. as we are, so currently for him it's nighttime.
right.
He'll get back to us tomorrow. All I can say is good job. I really enjoyed the video.
Yeah, man, that was impressive, man. I am It's one of those ones where basically if it wasn't up to if I didn't see the other video And if he didn't message us about it, I would have left it as unexplained because I just didn't have any other information on it. I didn't have any backstory or origins and stuff on it. But man, I want to talk to this guy now.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. He really had me on the edge of my seat.
Impressive work. And that's the tough thing about doing this today, man, is like it's so easy. Like it's not like the Patterson film was one thing because like that was back before modern Hollywood effects were mainstream. You know, people couldn't make CGI in their house and stuff. No, people didn't just have these supercomputers laying around where you could basically do CGI on your own and stuff.
Hmm.
So cool.
I think he did a great job, though. I think he
I
did
do
a great
too.
job.
That was outstanding. I
And
could see
even though it's fake, it's really interesting to watch.